This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on ways to tackle drug abuse. The participants are Neeraj Gupta, Deputy Director General, Narcotics Control Bureau NCB, and Arjun J. Chaudhuri, Anchor.
So, on the occasion of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, we have with us in the program Shri Neeraj Gupta, Deputy Director at NCB, which is the Narcotics Control Bureau. So, a very warm welcome to you on the program.
Thank you, Arjun.
And we will take the opportunity to understand what is the nature of drug abuse, what is the role of NCB in ensuring that it's prevented and controlled, and there is de-addiction for those who are affected by drug abuse, and how to ensure that there is proper prosecution for those indulging in illicit trafficking. So, Mr. Gupta, let's begin by understanding for the benefit of our listeners what is the role and responsibility of NCB, the Narcotics Control Bureau, in preventing and controlling drug abuse and illicit trafficking.
Narcotics Control Bureau was established in the year 1986, and since then it is a national agency. The main work of Narcotics Control Bureau is to coordinate the work related to control of narcotic substances amongst all the agencies who are involved in this work. Say, for example, in a state we have a state police, excise department, and ANTF. Similarly, we have many other central agencies like DRI, custom. They all are working against the narcotics drugs, and the main role of NCB is to coordinate the work done by these agencies and to implement the national level strategies to control the flow of narcotic substances.
So, what are the narcotic substances primarily in use in India?
In India, which is known as cannabis, is mostly used narcotic substances. Apart from that, opium, heroin is also being used. But one of the most important cause of concern in India is the rise in the use of synthetic drugs like MDMA, meth, and other kind of chemical drugs. The chemical drugs are more harmful than the natural drug. Of late, it is also noticed that the pharmaceutical drugs, which are being used as a painkiller, so for some other ailments, are also being misused as psychotropic substances.
So, for satisfying addiction, which are the age groups and demographics which are the most vulnerable in the country, according to you?
A survey was conducted in 2019, and during the survey, it emerges that all section of all kind of age groups are involved in the uses of narcotic substances. However, since India is a young country and chunk of youth population is very high, mostly youths are engaged in uses of narcotic substances.
So, what is the legal treatment under the NDPS Act of 85, the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act? What is the nature of this statute when it comes to arrest, seizure, and the prosecution of those indulging in drug abuse and illicit trafficking?
NDPS Act is a very stringent act. The NDPS Act has a provision of giving of punishment based on the quantity of seizure, type of drug, and uses of drug. The NDPS Act divides the quantity into three parts: small quantity, intermediate quantity, and commercial quantity. Small quantities are generally being used by the user of the drugs, medium quantity is the local peddlers, and commercial quantity, which is in high denomination, is being used by the networks who are supplying the drugs to local peddlers. The punishment in NDPS Act is based on the quantity seized by the agencies. In case of a small quantity, the punishment is up to 1 year, while in case of intermediate quantity, the punishment is up to 10 years. And in case of commercial quantity, the punishment is more than 10 years, and in some cases, even death penalty is also being awarded. Apart from that, in NDPS Act, the provision of granting bail are very stringent. It is not easy to get the bail in commercial quantity cases. Further, in NDPS Act, there is a provision attached of seizing and freezing of the illegally acquired property. The network which are involved in the trafficking of narcotic substances, they generally acquire the property, immovable or movable, and they enjoy the property. But NDPS Act has a provision to freeze and seize that illegally acquired property so that they cannot use it.
So the proceeds of the crime are not to be enjoyed by anyone arrested also for this type of offenses. What are the measures by the Narcotics Control Bureau to prevent this type of usage of narcotic substances? What is the role that you play? Because after usage, there is addiction, there's a medical condition on the part of the user, there's a problem there, and then, of course, there is a criminal side to it, there's a legal treatment of it. So, what is the preventive measures that you take?
We have to understand that, as I told you earlier, the NCB is a national coordination agency and which coordinate with all the agencies involved in the control of the narcotic substances. The control of narcotic substances or uses and misuse of narcotic substances involve the supply side of there is supply reduction, demand reduction, and harm reduction. In case of supply reduction, NCB conducts raid, seizes the material, and then arrests those accused who are involved in this trafficking of narcotic substances and bring them to the justice by presenting them before the court and prosecute them. In case of demand reduction, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, they are the primary agency generate the awareness amongst the public. However, NCB also has their awareness branch and they also conduct various awareness programs through local ANTF, Anti-Narcotic Task Force, and through their zonal unit and spread the awareness because it is firmly believed that if demand can be reduced, then supply will automatically be affected.
What are the drug de-addiction centers in case someone is a victim of drug abuse?
Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is the nodal agency for that. They have the drug de-addiction center all over India and some state government also are running the drug de-addiction center. Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment runs a helpline, 24/7 helpline, 14446. If anybody is addicted or the family member of addicted want some kind of help, they can contact that helpline. They have the information related to all drug de-addiction center. They have mapped it properly. And apart from that, they provide the counseling as well.
There's a lot of stigma attached to drug abuse. What would be your message to anyone, especially family members who are responsible for the youth and someone who's affected by this?
Arjunji, we have to understand that drug addiction is a medical condition. The family member and the society, they have to support the drug addict. They need to understand that since it is a medical condition, it has to be treated. And treatment protocols are available for treating the drug addict. The first step is that he should be taken for the counseling if the addiction is in the initial stage, or otherwise he has to be taken to the rehabilitation center which is run by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. So protocols are available. The family member and society need to support the drug addict and they should try to ensure that this fellow should get sufficient support and then he should get proper treatment so that he can become the important part of the society.
So, Mr. Gupta, you said that if you can control the demand, then automatically supply will fall. What steps do you feel parents should take to keep the children away from drugs?
One of the important steps which parents should keep in their mind that those children who are going to school, whenever they are becoming part of this drug consumption, there are behavior changes and they should observe the behavior of children very closely. There comes the role of parents and teachers in this. Generally, those students who are involved in the consumption of drugs, they tend to remain isolated. They tend to bunk the classes. Their marks in the classes generally fall and then they become aloof. Their sleep pattern changes. Those kind of behavior, they show this kind of deviation in the behavior. The parents and teacher shall observe these behavior very closely, shall conduct some kind of inquiry and see that whether their children are not involved in substance abuse. And if they are involved, they should support them. They should see them that this person needs some kind of support to come out of it. And they should go for the proper kind of treatment, taking him for counseling or otherwise taking him to the rehabilitation center for de-addiction.
Now, suppose a peddler or a distributor approaches any party to sell drugs. What are the steps that the average citizen should take at that point in time?
If anybody is approaching like that, or otherwise region is having some information that this particular area somebody is involved in drug peddling or selling the drug, so they can directly approach to the local police. They can go to the 112 number is emergency number of the local police. They can inform on 112. Apart from that, NCB has 30 zonal office almost in all the state, and one control room is there. They can inform to the NCB zonal office as well. NCB website has an option to submit a tip, and there also they can inform about the drug peddling and then activity related to drug peddling. The central government has a scheme of rewarding those persons who wants to inform about the drug and drug peddling, and based on the seizure and type of drug, they are being suitably rewarded, and their identities are completely confidential. It is not being revealed to anybody.
So, how can people approach de addiction centers even if they are not under the scanner of the NCB in any kind of arrest and seizure procedures, but they feel that they're already into this type of substance abuse and they need to independently go and get treatment?
For those persons who are drug addict, generally there is a systematic thinking that those persons are a victim. Those persons are not the accused. And as I told you earlier, that Ministry of Social Justice and Environment runs an helpline. They can directly contact on that helpline, and they will get all full support from the helpline and the this counselor from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to come out of this situation.
Mr. Gupta, I would like to ask you about the initiatives to stop illicit trafficking. The NCBs and old institutions, what have been the resources extended by the center to ensure that it is more potent in tackling the problem of drug menace?
I told you earlier that NCB is a national coordination agency which coordinates their working to control the substance abuse or drug abuse. NCB has of late, based on the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister and Home Minister, taken an approach of top to bottom, bottom to top. That means NCB is involved in busting of the network. They try to find out the source and reaches to destination, and try to from the destination we try to reach to the sources, so that entire network involved in drug trafficking can be busted properly. Apart from that, NCB emphasize a lot nowadays on financial investigation, so that the proceeds of crime generated through the drug trafficking shall not be enjoyed by the trafficker, and it should be properly seized and freezed.
Mr. Gupta, finally, I would like to ask you, what is a message to the youth against drug abuse and illicit trafficking?
My message to youth is very clear, that drug abuse not only deteriorate their health, but it destroy their family life, destroy the society. They should not try to do any kind of adventure with any kind of drug, even for once, and they should try to stay away from the uses of drug. They should live an happy, healthy life and contribute to the progress of the country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Neeraj Gupta.
Thank you, Arjun.
You were listening to a discussion on ways to tackle drug abuse. The participants were Neeraj Gupta, Deputy Director General, Narcotics Control Bureau, NCB, and Arjun J. Chaudhuri, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.